We finished voting a day early last week, and so a lot of us were back in our states traveling and doing town halls and Rotary clubs and schools. I ran into 3 different teachers who planned to use these hearings on C-SPAN to teach civics. I wonder if you could help those teachers explain, as one of them asked me, about why we have a Bill of Rights. To remind the American people, the Constitution's a negative document. It is not the government giving us freedoms. It is us giving the government a limited set of enumerated powers. And originally there was no Bill of Rights. And as a part of a compromise, we added one. Today, most people, when they think about our Constitution, think of the Bill of Rights first. Why do we have a Bill of Rights, and what fundamental difference would it make if we didn't have one?
That's a big question for us adults.
The chairman said I could have an extra hour, so take your time.
Yeah, I've got 4 minutes and 19 seconds on that. That's a big question for us adults who are where we are. It's a big question for my middle school and high school age kids. The Constitution, as a negative document, the theory behind it, in short order, was to divide power, the better to protect liberty. That's the theory. That you put all power in one set of hands, you're going to get tyranny. And our founders had too much evidence of that in their own time. It's kind of a hard-won inheritance. Part Enlightenment theory, right? Part on the battlefield. They saw what it was like to have power amalgamated in one set of hands. Dangerous. So they divided it. They divided it 3 ways in our federal system. You, Article 1, write the laws. And it's tough. It's supposed to be tough to protect liberty. We don't just have one house, we have 2 houses. And then it has to be signed by the president, too. Really hard. Bicameralism and presentment is designed to make legislation difficult, the better to protect liberty. The president's powers are to execute the laws, not make them, not adjudicate disputes. Our role is to decide cases and controversies between the people under law as it is, not as we'd wish it to be. We're not legislators, we're judges. The legislative power is invested in this body. That's not all. Then we divide power in a way that was quite unique, well, unusual. Federalism. So you can think of separation of powers as having a horizontal access and a vertical access, so that the federal government has certain enumerated powers and authorities. And what the federal government doesn't enjoy, the states do, as sovereigns. This country as well, we have tribes, which also bear sovereignty in our part of the world and bear recognition as such. And I'm glad to have the opportunity to recognize that fact here as a Westerner. So we have the separation of powers between horizontally, vertically. And that wasn't thought enough to protect liberty. The drafters of the Constitution, many of them thought that that would be more than sufficient, that that, in fact, was the main way to preserve liberty. But our founders were very suspicious and very jealous of their liberties. So they added the Bill of Rights, and they enumerated 10 of them, as you know, starting with the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, no establishment of religion, right to bear arms, the Third Amendment, which I'm glad we don't litigate much. I wonder how many of the high school kids now watching know what the Third Amendment's about. Go look it up.